Okay, we're back in my apartment yet again for another episode of Craven Some Raven. And in this episode, if you can't tell by the title, we're doing a power ranking. And I saw the NFL put out theirs, so you know what? I thought, let me just put mine out. It's not going to be the same. Obviously, going to have the Ravens higher because you know me drinking the purple Kool-Aid. But I think I'm just gonna get right into things. Pretty tough because some of these teams, it's like, man, I don't really know what to expect, and I just kind of follow the national story about all of them. I don't really know the ins and outs like I do the Ravens, obviously. Like, I'm a super fan of the Ravens, but everyone else, it's like, just kind of go fuck yourself. So, that being said, I think I'm going to go from 32 to 1, just so, yeah, just start with the worst teams, finish on a high note, or a low note, depending on how you see things, because the Ravens aren't number one. I'll just tell you that right now. So, hold on one sec. Why is this being dumb? Here we go. Cool. So, with number 32 overall, the worst team in the league next year, it's going to repeat itself. We got the Cardinals. There's no reason for me to change them out. I was thinking about maybe changing them with the Bucks. But, there's just so many holes. I just don't see how they're going to solve everything, even if they get Kyler Murray. I mean, maybe. But, man, this team was just garbage all over. And I don't think it's Josh Rosen's fault. I just think it was kind of shitty, everything that was around him. And then, so, I guess getting into... the record, I could see them being 3-13. Or, maybe they get up to 5 wins. Who knows? These teams could, at the bottom, could all be 5. My goal, one year, the whole league is going to go 8-8. That's the goal. That's what the NFL is going for, I think. Try to bring everyone towards a medium. So, with that being said, number 31 on my list, might like this as a Ravens fan. I got the Bengals. Bengals all the way down there. They kind of suck. I mean, they still have AJ Green and Tyler Boyd, so they're always going to whoop on the Ravens. But they got rid of Burfict. I don't know what they're going to do in the draft. I guess they're going to have to take one of the Devons at linebacker because they just need, honestly, they should just trade back and try to pick 15 different players and hope they all win. But I just don't see the Bengals doing anything good. They got a new coach, and who knows if he's going to work out. So just so many questions. So many questions. So at number 30, I have the Giants. I was thinking about putting them a little bit higher just because they, in that trade with Odell, they got tons of picks. But, since they have a ton of draft capital, this is pre-draft, so we don't even know who they're going to get. They could totally fuck everything up. And getting rid of Odell and keeping Eli Manning, just terrible decisions. Dave Gettleman's getting all sorts of trash right now. Now, I know he's got the 15 picks or something crazy like that, but I still just not a huge fan of the off-season moves they've made so far. And they were already a bad team, and I think they've gotten worse throughout the offseason. So, I mean, you try to do it that way. I don't see it might work. I don't know. So, with that being said, at number 29, I have the Buffalo Bills. Now, I liked what I saw from Josh Allen, his running ability, the new Cam Newton 2.0, the white Cam Newton. But their defense was pretty decent, actually. I think they might have been actually really high. But I still just don't like the offense. They picked up John Brown and, who's the white dude? Not Wes Welker. The dude from the Cowboys. You know what I'm talking about. Apparently my buddy smoked weed with him once, too. Side note. What's his... I'm gonna have to look this up. God damn it. I won't pause, though. We're gonna We're gonna Vic Beasley. No, that's a lineman. Cole Beasley. That's what it is. I didn't even have to find it. I figured it out, guys. Don't you worry. Yeah, so they picked up Cole Beasley and John Brown, two middle of the road adequate receivers. I don't see why that's gonna all of a sudden change their offense. I just think, you know, I believe Josh Allen. He's a very good quarterback. He's just never going to be great. I mean, I just don't see it. I know that's like just a personal opinion, not going off stats, not going off like game film, just going off feeling. And sometimes, your gut feeling about someone ends up being right more than not. So, with that being said, number 28, I have the Buccaneers. I was thinking about putting these guys way lower, like at number 31, like right after the Cardinals. But I just like their uniforms, so I put them higher. No, I don't really I just don't know much about the Bucs other than the fact that Jameis Winston, is he still there? Maybe he'll pull things out. Their defense, I know they were on Hard Knocks, but I didn't really watch that season just because I wanted nothing to do with the Bucs. Tampa Bay is just the forgotten city of the United States, so I really should have put them lower, but they have, I think their defense is semi-decent, their defensive line. They just didn't produce last year, but, whatever. Buccaneers, out of all the teams, I know the least about the Buccaneers, that's for sure. So next on my list at number 27, I have the Green Bay Packers. Pretty low for a team that has, the best quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. No, apparently he's an asshole. His parents don't talk to him. I never liked him. He always just seemed like a dick. So I'm kind of glad that everything's kind of falling apart around him team-wise. They don't get him help. And it's like, well, maybe they had the wide receivers, but it's like the whole Big Ben thing. He's just an asshole apparently. So, yeah, their defense is trash. I mean, Clay Matthews, is he still there? Is he a free agent? I don't really know. Like, if they can keep Clay Matthews, but I mean, that's the only person I know on their defense, really. And on offense, they just lost Cobb. Cobb literally just signed before I came on. He just signed with somebody. So they have no running backs, they have no receivers, but hey, they got Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback ever, I guess, apparently. So, I just don't see him improving too much. I feel like they're going to take a step back for sure. But, they are the Packers, so they could be higher on this list just because it's the name. It's like, oh, the Packers, yeah, the fucking Fudge Packers, that's what I call them. Gay. So, on to my next team, number 26, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ooh, Big Dick Nick in town, here to lay some wood. Probably put it in the pool. Don't they have that pool at their stadium? Probably filled with fucking nasty Jacksonville people. But I was thinking about putting them a little bit higher, just because I think injuries really plagued their season last year. But just seeing all the drama that their players are kind of, they're just real loud, like a real loud locker room. I'm not a fan of that. They had the one good year, and I'd like that, them making noise, but then they couldn't back it up. I like Jalen Ramsey and that whole defense really in general. Jalen Ramsey's just the focal point. He's the leader, or the biggest shit talker for sure. And yeah, I just think injuries plagued them, so that I think they can get a little bit better this year. And I'm interested to see how Nick Foles does in a full 16 games. He could have been a fluke with the Eagles, or maybe, that's all they needed for the Jags to go that high. They could be the sleeper team, end up in the playoffs. I think out of these bottom 8 teams, I think they're the sleepers for sure. And their uniforms are cool. They're going to be the London team anyways here soon enough, so good on you, Jags. So getting on to my number 25, I have the New York Jets, or shall I say, the New Jersey Jets. You think you're better than me? Huh? I'm walking here. Um, yeah, so the Jets, man, they're just a team that's been stuck in mediocrity for so long, and it'd be a fool for me to just think like, oh, well, now they got Le'Veon Bell, now they're gonna do it. Nah, I never was a believer in Sam Darnold too. Like everyone kind of heralded him as like the best quarterback. I didn't see it. Like my two favorite quarterbacks coming out of that draft were Baker and Lamar. And what do you know? Those are the two that ended up doing the best. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I was right about that. And I didn't think Sam Darnold had it in him, you know. And it's just going based off like gut feelings. He was too much of a bro. I don't know, but not like a cool bro, but like a bro who wishes or pretending to be more broy than he is. I don't know. It was something about his hair. I just didn't approve. um, you know, so Sam Darnold, I don't think he's going to be as good as everyone thinks he is, and I think Le'Veon Bell, that's as that good of a signing that is, I don't think that's just going to take over all the deficiencies of that offense. You know, they still need wide receivers, and that division, well, I guess it's really up for grabs. Or second place is up for grabs. I mean, like, at that division, I think they're going to be the worst out of the division. I think that division as a whole is pretty bad other than the Patriots. So, with that being said, number 24 on my list, I have the Detroit Lions. Now, with the Lions, I like, of course, Matt Stafford. Couldn't remember his name for a second. It's like, whoa, I really like him, but I don't know his name. But I really like Matt Stafford. I like his ability to throw deep, real accurate. You know, when the game's on the line, he really gets after it more than you'd think he would. And I kind of like Matt Patricia. He's trying to make the Patriots of the Midwest. I mean, I dig it. See what he's trying to do, bringing in all those Patriots players. And I think I really liked, who was the rookie running back? The dude from Auburn last year. I really liked that pick, and he ended up doing pretty well there. I thought he was going to be kind of the sleeper of the running back. And I thought he did pretty good. So I can remember his name off the top of my head. But I'll mention it at some point. You know who I'm talking about, motherfuckers. And I liked their linebacker, Jared Davis. I think that's his name. I really liked him coming out too, so I liked those picks. And they ended up doing pretty decent for him. So, with that, yeah, other than that, it's just nothing spectacular. I don't see them blowing the doors off anybody. You know, it's like when I was making this list, just like, all right, would this team beat this one? It's like, well, maybe any given Sunday, but you know, just really thinking about their whole team and like the hype around the team and just where I see things going for them. I have the Lions at 24, not making the playoffs. So with that being said, number 23, I have the Dolphins. Now they're probably a little bit higher than most people have them. They just signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know, the tankers quarterback, so maybe the Dolphins are going to try to tank. But, I mean, they tank so badly that they end up doing decently. I thought they were trying to tank last year, but they ended up going 7-6, which is fucking crazy. 7-9. No, yeah, 7-9, not 7-6. They ended up going 7-9, like the worst 7-9 team to do it in NFL history. And other than quarterback and their offensive line, I really like their talent across the board. I really like their skilled positions. You know, I really like Kenyon Drake. I was kind of hoping, you know, he would leave and then the Ravens would sign him, because even coming out, I really liked his home run ability. But I think he's my favorite player on their team. And their defense, they have good players. It's just, can they put it together? I don't really think they can. This whole division, other than the Patriots, is just kind of bottom of the league. You know, it's just the way it is. they're just not good. As long as the Patriots are going to be great, I think somehow, like in the division, the Patriots are kind of like draining the energy of everybody, almost like some kind of like Thanos gauntlet thing, like something he's doing with one of the gems. Like he's literally just they're draining the power from these teams. That's why they're so garbage. And that's why they're so great. Like roster aside, I think it's something like that. It's baffling. So, that being said, I got number 22. I have the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, with Jimmy Garoppolo healthy, behind Mike Shanahan's offense, this could be a playoff team. But it's just, without Garoppolo, if your team's going to be any good, we would have saw something. They wouldn't have been so trash. Hopefully they make some good signings. I put them this high just because of their upside. I think with Kyle Shanahan's offensive system, they could be higher. It's just their potential is there. They just haven't really done it. I don't know much about the San Francisco 49ers roster-wise, so they're pretty low. They're in the 20s. I have them listed down here just because, every other team that I have above them I could see making a run towards the playoffs. I think, all right, yeah, so 49ers and above on this list, I could see any of these teams just doing a scenario where they could make a run for the playoffs. So, Dolphins, Lions, Jets, Jags, Packers, Bucks, Bills, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, I already have them kind of out of the playoffs. Let's see what they do in the draft. They could end up getting somebody that I really like, and I might move them up. So I'll probably do another power ranking. After this, after the draft. So I will do another one. So at number 21, I have the Carolina Panthers. I think Cam Newton's on the decline, and that whole team's on the decline, so I was thinking maybe put them a little bit lower, but, I still think they have some fight in them left. I really like their defense. Luke Kuechly's a monster. He's a beast as long as he doesn't have concussions, and I think Cam, he'll be healthy for long enough to get you some wins. That's just all together, and it really all just depends on Cam Newton here. He just seemed out of it at the end of the year. He was injured and just looked like ass. And it's like, man, what's this team going to do? So maybe they try to draft a quarterback. Who knows? Ooh, sleeper pick. And you smell that? You probably can't smell it, but you heard it maybe. Well, I farted. If you couldn't hear it, I farted. So, yeah, the Panthers, I really like, who's their coach? I really like him. Ron Rivera. I really like him as a coach. Good military man. Overall good coach, good leader, man amongst boys. Yeah, it's just another one of these teams. I really didn't know where to put him, man, because I could see him worse in the league, or I could see him making the playoffs somehow. Their defense really rallies. Cam Newton is better after the injuries, and it's just that question mark that has me put him at 21. Not so much middle of the pack, but down pretty far. So at number 20, I have the Oakland Raiders, soon to be Vegas Raiders. This is another team, man. I just don't know what to do with them. Because they made a bunch of moves, right? They got Antonio Brown. They picked up Tyrell Williams from the Chargers, right? And then just so many holes, though. But they have tons of draft picks, so I was kind of maybe doing that, kind of putting that into this, thinking that they're gonna get a bunch of players that you're gonna be hyped about. So, I put them right there. They could be better, or I might put them higher or lower. Depending on after the draft. It's just here before the draft, it's hard to say. They were so bad last year, and how much will Antonio Brown really affect them overall? Will John Gruden really get the boys to play together well? I really like Jared Cook. You know, a lot of their games were pretty close too, so they were in it. They just couldn't finish. So, with that being said, I'm gonna drink some water real quick. I don't feel like pausing. Pausing's for pussies. So, at number 19, I'm going to talk through all these, so this is going to be a long podcast, that's for sure. So, at number 19, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this seems pretty low for a team that just made the playoffs, but now they made the playoffs because of Nick Foles. They haven't proven to do it with, what's his name? Carson Wentz. Yeah, they haven't been able to prove that they can do it with Carson Wentz. I mean, they did his rookie year, but he doesn't seem to be playing up to the same level, at least not last year. And their roster, after that Super Bowl, and even before that Super Bowl, they're just like, their roster changes the most out of any teams. This entire, past 2 years, they've had, 50 different guys come and go, it seemed like. So just the turbulence of that team, and I'm sure they're going to find a way to do something, but I just have them lower just because they're just all over the place, man. And I just don't know what to do with them. Are they No, Cardinals are the worst bird team. They're the second worst bird team. So, unless you count the Jets, but the Jets aren't birds. But they fly. So, number 18, staying inside the division, I have the Redskins. The Washington Redskins. I know my Maryland people, they might not like that. But, I really like the Redskins. They're just kind of subtle. One of these teams that just always is competing. And I just have them higher just because I like Jay Gruden as a coach. I really like their offensive line and their defensive line that they're kind of building. And I like that they brought Adrian Peterson back, and they have Darius Geis, who, if he can stay healthy, was a decent pick, I think, last year. Let's see if he can stay healthy. That was the whole thing about him in the draft, besides injury history, great kid, great player. So I just really like, the rough and tumbling team, that whole style, like defense and running game. I really like those teams, and they always have some pretty good success nowadays, especially since everything's so air raid. I'll get more to that in a little bit because I got some more teams higher up that kind of run that kind of system. So, number 17, I have the Denver Broncos. Yes, Joe Flacco. He's going to keep them in the middle of the pack, baby. Sorry, drinking some water. Yeah, I like the Redskins' moves. I like them picking Joe Flacco. But overall, I'm not a huge fan of John Elway. I think he's just a fucking dick. I don't know. That press conference, he comes out. It's like, bro, what's your haircut, man? You're not a millennial. Get the fuck out of here. This one's for John. Don't be selfish. You got 21 other players on the field, Anyways, their defense still seems decent. I think they still got Wade Phillips, so I think their defense is pretty good. I like Phillip Lindsay. It's just, can they really put it together? Can they put it all together? Flacco, he is Fluco. Maybe if they get into the playoffs, all of a sudden he could go on another run. I think Flacco will be successful, but man, he's gonna throw more interceptions than you'd like, and everyone's going to probably get pretty mad at him, halfway through the season, oh, he's throwing so many picks. I thought you were our savior, Joe Flacco. No, man. He's not. But they still just have so many questions on their offensive line. I just couldn't put them any higher on this list. But other than that, I just like Denver as a city. I just felt like putting them higher. This ain't easy because you're just hating on a whole fan base, but it's most of these teams, you could see them conceivably doing something and ending up getting into the playoffs, So next on my list, number 16, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Now I was thinking about putting them higher, but they just don't have any crazy weapons besides Zeke Elliott. I did like Michael Gallup coming out, and I thought he had a decent first year. I thought he could have done better. But, it just seems like they're signing all the wrong dudes. Like, oh, Tavon Austin? Yeah, great. Awesome. Good on you guys. Oh, they got what's his face coming back out of retirement? Couldn't make it in the booth, but so you're gonna make it on the field? Yeah, okay. Now I just other than Zeke and their offensive line, oh, and their inside linebackers, I do like their inside linebackers. They're Byron Jones too. I like him as well as a corner. Their defense is pretty good. Their running game is pretty good. Maybe I should have put them higher on this list, but it's just they made the playoffs this past year, so that means this year they're going 8-8. It's just the way the Cowboys do it. They go 11-5. Yeah, 11-5, and then 8-8. 11-5, 8-8. That's just the way it's been. So this year they're going to be 8-8. So that's why I have them at number 16, damn near middle of the list. So with that being said, sorry Cowboys fans, fuck Dallas. So with that being said, at number 15, I have the Atlanta Falcons. They're they've just continually, they're getting Devontae Freeman back, and I really like Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, that whole offense. And finally, their defense was gone last year. They lost everybody. Everybody got injured like after the third week. So hopefully if they get everyone back and they stay healthy, they probably be higher up on this list for me, honestly. But if they come back healthy and are able to stay somewhat healthy for more than 3 games, then I think this is a very dangerous team. I could totally see them in the playoffs. So, next on my list, kind of a shocker, number 14, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know they lost everybody and this team is kind of going to shit, but I just seen them do it too many times over the years. It doesn't matter who's on the team. The Steelers are such a storied franchise that they are going to be successful. Maybe I should have put them like below the Cowboys, maybe above the Broncos. But it's giving our division some extra credit here. Drink some water. Yeah, the steel curtain. Hopefully they can, or actually not hopefully, but they just need to draft defensive players who don't suck. They always seem to just draft the one guy who's terrible. And you see him make the pick, you're like, well, he's going to suck. So, yeah, but they also need offensive weapons now, too. They really need to just draft more wide receivers and hit gold mines like they always seem to do. So, fuck you, Steelers. So at number 13, I have the Tennessee Titans. They quietly have one of my favorite rosters in the NFL. And I think, the whole question is, oh, well, Mariota can't stay healthy and he's inconsistent. Well, now they got Ryan Tannehill who can't stay healthy and is inconsistent. So, maybe that equals 2 inconsistent quarterbacks, inconsistent injured quarterbacks equals 1. One good quarterback? Maybe. If that's the way it works. I really like Derrick Henry. Their defense has been killing it these past few years. And I'm just a real fan of every single year during the past 2 years in the draft, when they've made a pick, I'm like, damn, I wanted that player. They're getting players that I like. So maybe that's what it is. They just happen to be picking players that I'm fans of. So, and that whole division is good. Like, you can tell, let's see. Where did I have, who else is in their division? Yeah, so I have the Colts and Texans above them. Then who else is in their division? The Panthers? No, they're NFC. Who's in there? The Jags. Yeah, so I have the Jags low, but the rest of them are up here, top 13. So at number 12, like I kind of mentioned a little bit, I have the Texans. Still great defense. They're going to have to upgrade that offensive line, but Deshaun Watson just proves that he doesn't like to lose. Like, I know you can't count that. Winning isn't a quarterback stat, but you know what? If the QB is such an important position, then and they're winning, then I believe it's on Deshaun Watson. There's something, he just wills them to win. And, that's kind of the reason where he gets sacked so much is because he likes to hold on to the ball. And he's gotta make everything count because he hates losing, no matter if it's a play or the whole game. Like he doesn't even want to lose one single play, so it kind of fucks him over a little bit on the sack category. But they just seem to always win and do a good job. So that's why I have the Texans at number 12. Number 11, you got the hottest team in football right now. Goddamn, the Cleveland Browns, number 11. I put them this high just because of their paper roster. But, I'm putting them up high just so that way it just kind of fuels that narrative of, man, they're really going to Browns this up, man. Everyone's hyping them up. And, I can't wait till they fall, baby. Man, I'll put them at 11 if that means they're actually down at 25. They have a very good offense on paper. Let's see if everybody can gel together, especially with a new coach. You still got to play as a team. On paper, excellent, great. Everyone's a really good player on your team, except for on defense. But everyone's a good player on your team. But will you gel together? If everyone's arguing, then you have the Steelers. So, but on paper, I really like the Odell move. I think they did give up a lot. I don't think they just stole him from the Giants. While I don't agree the Giants should have traded him away, they got tons of pieces. The Browns gave up a lot. And the Browns, they've proven that they don't know what to do with their draft picks when they got them. So I guess they're just like, all right, take them, Giants. We don't know what to do with them. Even though they drafted pretty well these past 2 years. But either way, that's going to do it on them. So number 10, getting into the top 10 here. So let's see, how many teams get in the playoffs? Is it 12? So Texans, I have the Browns making the playoffs. Hey, fuck it, bro. I'm going to see them lose first round. Can't wait. So number 10, I have the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings. Just a good purple team. I got one here coming up soon. Uh-oh. But I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins. But, their wide receiver core is legit. I really like Stephon Diggs coming out. I wish the Ravens got him. But, he had the injury concerns coming out of Maryland, so whatever. But Adam Thielen, out of nowhere, killing it. Laquan Treadwell, But their defense is pretty legit. I really like their defense. Their offense, they need to get some offensive line, kind of like the Texans, but I think they're just a little bit better than the Texans when it comes to overall weapons. And they're at the skill position, like I do like DeAndre Hopkins, but I think, Diggs and Thielen are better. Yeah, and they're just an overall good team. They just kind of, I don't know why, they just didn't have as much success last year. Really thought they would. I'm thinking they're going to step it up. That's just a feeling. I think they had a down year, and they're gonna bring it back to the glory days. So at number 9, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Going into last year, everyone thought they were going to do terrible, and they ended up making the playoffs and making a good little run there. So I only see them, if they can do that when everyone perceives them to be doing terrible, I can only see them doing just as well, if not better. They still have Russell Wilson, who is the entire offense, and I really liked what they did towards the end of the year once they kind of switched over a little bit, kind of like what the Ravens did, hit the running attack. And they still have a quality defense. It's not the Legion of Boom anymore, but they still have a very young defense. They've kind of gotten rid of all their veteran kind of guys, except for Ricky Wagner and who else? Is Cam Chancellor still on their team? Anyways, they're trying to build a young defense and a rough and tumbling offense, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. So, with that being said, number 8. Oh, shit, buddy. Look who it is. Got the Baltimore motherfucking Ravens. Now, this may be high, obviously. I'm a Ravens fan. But looking at the roster, man, I just really like what the Ravens are doing. Don't overpay. I really like the inside linebacker position, so let C.J. Mosley walk. I think, draft a edge rusher, to kind of replace Terrell Suggs and Zadarius Smith. But just draft one, because I still want to see the other young players, get more involvement. You can replace Terrell Suggs and Zadarius Smith with one guy and probably get just as much production, if you split it amongst all three of those dudes. Those four, I guess. You got Matt Judon, Tim Williams, and Tyus Bowser, plus a draft pick, probably Cleveland Farrell, because I had a dream about it. And I just, best secondary in the whole league. I'm going to go ahead and say it. No one on this team. Cowboys got a pretty good secondary. The Bears have a pretty good secondary. The Chargers, need some corner help. The Saints, they got a few good pieces. But I would have to say the Ravens are just bona fide, top to bottom, best secondary. And I like what they're doing on offense. They're finally going to have a full offseason with Lamar. And I am a true Lamar believer. So I was thinking about putting him even higher. But, I think the teams above have proven it a little bit more, a little bit longer. So, with that being said, at number 7, I have the Colts, the Indianapolis Colts. They have Andrew Luck, and they have all of these rookies that have been killing it for him, and they still have all of this money, and yet they still have signed no one. I don't understand it. Are they waiting to sign their own players like next year when it's time? Because, they killed it last year in the draft. I only see them doing it this year in the draft, and they have tons of money, so they have their quarterback for the foreseeable future in Andrew Luck. Pretty damn good, too. And all this young talent and all this money. They're in the next 4 years, they're gonna be in the Super Bowl at least once, I believe. You can't say that they're gonna have another legendary draft, but I could see them doing that. Yeah, and it's just, man, all that money too. So when they want, they can, if they really like, I thought they were gonna do it with Le'Veon Bell, but if they really like someone, they can sign them like that. They have the capital. So with that being said, number 6, I got the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Their defense. If I didn't have the Ravens defense, I'd want the Bears defense, as a fan. The Bears defense, I think they were a little bit nastier than the Ravens. The Ravens were just stingy. I think the Bears, they had swag. I don't know. They had that swagger to them. And they just look good in those uniforms playing defense. Everyone was killing it for them. And their offense was doing just enough, I don't really believe in Trubisky, but fucking their head coach, what's his face? He's put a good offensive scheme around Trubisky, allowing people to get open, making easy throws. So he's had success, and I only see that continuing. So at number 5, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. They just have one of the most talented rosters, and I don't see why they won't be this high. When it comes to playoffs, maybe they'll choke again. I was pissed they beat the Ravens, but we made it a game. They almost Chargers it. They almost chargered it. Anyways, yeah, they almost ruined the whole thing and dropped the ball at the very end there to Lamar. But, the Chargers still one of the best rosters. Did they really even lose anybody? I don't think they did. No one that comes to mind. So, really like the offense, really like the defense. Just depth at all positions. Fast, mean, and lightning. So, at number 4, I have the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs. I was thinking about putting them lower than the Chargers, but I still, just with Mahomes in that offense, I had to keep them above those, like the Chargers, Bears, and Colts. Just their defense is just ass, man. Good thing this draft is all defense, or at least everyone perceives it to be a very good defensive draft, because without that, man, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the Chiefs. And it was like, all right, they need to bolster the defense. And what do? They just lose all their defensive guys. They paid no one and traded people. It's like, what are you doing, bro? And then now Tyreek Hill is in trouble for like breaking his kid's arm. It might not be true, but it's still like out there. So, I was thinking about having him higher just because of how good that offense I think it's going to be. But man, that defense is just really going to hamper them. So with that being said, at number 3, I have the Rams. They made it to the Super Bowl last year. They kind of went all in, but I think they brought in some pieces. They didn't lose enough for me to think that they're not going to be back there. I'd never believed in Jared Goff, and I still don't, but I believe in Sean McVay. And I think Sean McVay is good enough that he can win with Jared Goff. My hope is that when it's time for Jared Goff to get paid, they don't. They just let him walk, and then they go and draft somebody. That's my hope, because I think McVay would do a lot better with any other quarterback, really, in the entire league. Like, any other starting quarterback, I think I'd rather have over Goff. It's a little bit harsh. I just don't like Goff. I don't know what it is about him. I just don't like him. Yeah, and they lost a lot of pieces, I think, on defense. Did they? Or at least they're going to. They still have Aaron Donald. They brought in Eric Weddle. Their DBs are all kind of old though. So yeah, but they made the Super Bowl, so I couldn't put them like really any lower. I just couldn't. So at number 2, I have the Saints, the team that should have won that game, right? That's what everyone's saying. You can't blame it all on the refs, but I thought the Saints were a better team. They just happened to lose that day. Just really like the whole defense. Alvin Kamara is one of my favorite players to watch. They had their great draft that year with Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, offense and defensive rookies of the year, respectfully. I just really like their team. Love the uniforms. Love everything they're doing. I don't know. Have they lost anybody? I don't think. And no one comes to mind. They haven't picked anybody up. I guess they lost Mark Ingram, but they brought in Latavius Murray, who I think could probably help them just as much, if not more, just because he's younger. I really like what the Saints are doing. So, number 1. God damn it. You just have to do it. On paper, no, they're not number 1. Fucking Patriots. They've proven that they can win no matter what anybody says. So, they're number 1. That's all I gotta say. So, with that, it's gonna be the end of this podcast. I'll definitely do another power ranking after the draft. Maybe I'll just list everyone off, just because this was pretty long. Just because I went through every team and I didn't even go in depth on anybody, so maybe when I do the next one, what I'll do is just kind of list off the list and just go over some teams that I thought did something really good, something really bad, why they dropped, why they didn't. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you just want to get in touch, or you want me to answer a question on a podcast, you can send me an email at csrpod@gmail.com. That's spelled CSRPOD. Also, if you really want to support the show, you can send me some fucking money. So if you want to join me on Patreon, my Patreon's at CSRPod, spelled the same way. So go on Patreon and type in CSRPOD, and you should be able to find me. And you'll get a shout out every fucking episode, for sure, 100%. Or if you maybe one day I'll have exclusive content. And if you just want to make a one-time payment, just real simple, all you got to do, you got your phone, you just want to help a brother out, send me 25 cents. Send me $50. Send me $1,000. How crazy are you? Hit me up on Venmo, and that's also at CSRPod. CSRPOD. Pod. And, if you just want to become a sponsor in general, I guess just send me an email. We'll talk back and forth, get some information. So, with that said, I love you guys so much. I love you. Bye. Bye.